we've covered a number of criminogenic factors that could be characterized as developmental in nature. Now we'll move on to some that might fall under the category of biological. It's important to remember as we move forward that criminogenic factors are just that, factors that might increase a person's risk of engaging in criminal behavior, not factors that will cause criminal behavior or even determine whether a person will engage in criminal behavior. Whether or not a person is influenced by biological factors or genetic factors is going to depend on a number of other things, many of which we discussed under developmental factors. Adrian Raine claims that there are 7 genes associated with antisocial behavior. But genetics actually plays an insignificant role as compared to the role played by environmental social factors, psychological factors, developmental factors, and learning factors. So in sum, there's little doubt that environment and biology, as well as individual or group values and experiences, are all important factors or important pieces of the puzzle of the development of criminal behavior. Some additional genetic factors that have been explored for their relationship with criminal behavior include the MAOAL gene, or what's commonly referred to as the warrior gene. It's believed that this particular genetic condition occurs in roughly 1/3 of the Western population, and basically that people who have it might be more aggressive, more inclined to fight, more inclined to violence, and may be provoked by an adverse environment. Another genetic condition that's been explored for its relationship to criminal behavior is the XYY genotype, or what has been referred to as XYY syndrome or Jacobs syndrome. As you'll hopefully recall, females have 2 X chromosomes, whereas biological males have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome typically. The XYY genotype has 1 X chromosome and 2 Y chromosomes. So this is often referred to as I think it's been referred to as the mega male or the super male, because with that extra Y chromosome, the reasoning is that that person is even more male than a male with only 1 Y chromosome. So people with an extra Y chromosome usually are larger, both much taller than average and also proportionately larger than average. It had been previously thought and certainly explored that people with the XYY genotype were prone to episodes of violent aggression, also had borderline intelligence or low intelligence. It had been found, there was some anecdotal evidence that a whole bunch of extremely violent people in prison had this particular syndrome or genotype, but none of that actually turned out to be substantiated. Somebody even tried to use it, I think, as a criminal defense against a violent crime, unsuccessfully, of course. It is said that 1 every 1,000 boys actually has this genotype, and so it's a little more common than they first thought, and there isn't actually any scientific evidence that supports the concept of people with this genotype necessarily being any more violent or aggressive or even having a lower IQ than males without that particular chromosomal abnormality. Another genetic factor that has been thought to play a role in the development of criminal behavior is temperament. We spoke about temperament briefly in one of the previous lectures. Temperament is essentially the way in which you interact with the world. It is your manner in general, and it is something that you are born with. So it has a constitutional or biological basis. Many people find that their temperament takes after one or both of their parents, or perhaps a grandparent. There is a genetic component to temperament. It appears in infancy and continues throughout life, but can of course be influenced by the environment. So it's how you approach and interact with your social environment, and that influences how that environment will interact with you. It has been said that people who have certain temperaments, certain personality types, or certain ways of interacting with the world might be more prone to antisocial or criminal behavior. Moving on to biological risk factors that have more of a basis in the body or the anatomy, the structure or operation of the body, or in some cases in the physical environment. Some biological risk factors that are tied to the environment or biologically influenced from injury might include harmful in utero experiences. In utero, meaning that the baby or fetus is still developing in the womb and has not yet been born. Exposure to toxins or metals such as lead, as well as drugs, alcohol, and nicotine can all have a detrimental effect on the baby's development. And this detrimental effect may manifest in a number of ways once that child is born. That child may experience learning disabilities, social disabilities, developmental disabilities, as well as impulse control problems and self-regulation problems. Birth complications may also lead to neurological deficits as well as deficits in regulating one's behavior. Both of these, the in utero experiences and the birth complications, also have early social implications, many of which we discussed previously when we discussed developmental social factors. So birth complications such as deprivation of oxygen and physical injury can combine with psychosocial risk factors to create a number of problems. One of those is self-regulation of behavior and neurological deficits.